Democracies rarely die with a single gunshot. Most of the time, they just bleed out. Slowly. From apathy, from anger, and from people convincing themselves that this time is different. That's exactly what happened to the Weimar Republic, Germany's democracy between World War I and World War II. It didn't fall overnight. It collapsed in slow motion, and the scariest part? A lot of what brought it down looks uncomfortably familiar today. Picture it. Germany, 1919. The smoke from the First World War has just cleared. The old German Empire is gone. The Kaiser has fled, and in its place a brand new democratic government is born. The Weimar Republic. It starts with so much promise. It has a modern constitution. It gives women the right to vote. It guarantees civil rights and freedom of speech. On paper, Weimar Germany looks like one of the most progressive democracies in the world. But in reality, the country is a complete mess. Germany has been forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, taking full blame for the war and agreeing to pay crushing reparations. Millions are unemployed. The economy is in ruins. And there's this deep, gnawing sense of humiliation, like the nation's pride has been stolen. From the very beginning, Weimar is a democracy that most Germans don't actually believe in. The left thinks it's too conservative. The right sees it as a national betrayal. And that bitterness, that poison, it never really goes away. Then comes 1923, the year everything nearly explodes. When Germany falls behind on its reparations payments, French troops occupy the Ruhr, Germany's industrial heartland. Workers go on strike. The government, desperate, responds by printing money to pay them. And this simple act sparks one of the worst cases of hyperinflation in history. Prices double every few days. A loaf of bread costs billions of marks. People start burning money for heat because it's literally cheaper than firewood. By the end of the year, the entire middle class, the very people who usually stabilize democracies, are wiped out. Their life savings have vanished overnight. And when people lose faith in money, they start looking for anyone, who promises to fix things. That's when the extremists start to rise, communists on the far left, nationalists and fascists on the far right. Both sides promise to save Germany, but their idea of saving it means ending democracy. And among those nationalists, a failed Austrian artist named Adolf. In 1923, he tries his first big move, an armed coup attempt in Munich. It fails miserably. He's arrested and thrown in jail for 9 months. But here's the crazy part. Instead of being ruined, he becomes a celebrity. He blames all of Germany's problems on Jews, on Marxists, on traitors. And when he gets out, the conservative establishment starts to see him as useful, a tool they can use. Then, from 1924 to 1929, thanks to American loans and something called the Dawes Plan, the German economy stabilizes. Cities boom. It's the age of jazz, modern art, and groundbreaking film. It's like a golden age, and for a moment, it feels like the Weimar Republic might actually survive. But that golden age was built on sand. It was all dependent on foreign loans and a fragile global economy. So when the US stock market crashes in 1929, the Great Depression hits Germany like a tidal wave. Unemployment skyrockets. Banks collapse. People lose their homes, their savings, and their hope. All over again, and that's when democracy starts to buckle. The government can't agree on how to fix the crisis. The Reichstag, Germany's parliament, becomes paralyzed. Every political party is at war with every other party. And when nothing gets done, people lose faith in the system itself. The president, Paul von Hindenburg, an old conservative war hero, starts ruling by emergency decree, bypassing parliament entirely. It's supposed to be temporary, but you can guess where that leads. Meanwhile, Adolf's fascist party seizes the moment. They run a brilliant campaign built on fear, rage, and nostalgia. They tell Germans that the country was stabbed in the back, that democracy is weak, that they need a strong leader to make Germany great again. Sound familiar? They flood the streets with propaganda posters, radio speeches, massive rallies. They blame immigrants for the economic hardship. They weaponize national pride. And it works. By 1932, the fascists become the largest party in parliament. They still don't have a majority, but they have momentum and they have violence. Their paramilitary wing, the SA, roams the streets, beating up political opponents. Elections turn into street battles. And ordinary Germans, tired of the chaos, start saying, maybe we just need someone to take control. In January 1933, under intense pressure from conservatives who foolishly think they can control him, President Hindenburg appoints Adolf as chancellor. That is the moment democracy dies. But most people don't realize it yet. Adolf promises moderation. He takes an oath to uphold the Constitution. And then, just 1 month later, the Reichstag building catches fire. The fascists immediately blamed the communists and used the fire as a pretext to suspend all civil liberties. Mass arrests, censorship, political opponents silenced. Then comes the Enabling Act, a temporary law giving Adolf the power to pass legislation without Parliament's approval. It sounds like an emergency measure, but it's the final nail in the coffin for the Weimar Republic. Within a year, all other political parties are banned. Unions are dissolved. The courts are purged. The press is muzzled. And Adolf becomes the Führer, the leader for life. And all of it was done legally, through a system that people thought was strong enough to resist him. That's how Weimar fell, not in a single coup, but in a chain of compromises, excuses, and temporary measures. And that is why this history still matters. Because democracies almost never collapse all at once. They're dismantled piece by piece, while people convince themselves it's necessary, or harmless, or just for a little while. We're not 1930s Germany, but we are seeing the same warning signs today. Massive polarization, where political opponents are treated as enemies. Disinformation and conspiracy theories replacing a shared sense of truth. Our institutions losing credibility. Violence creeping back into politics. And populist leaders promising strength over compromise. Back then, people said, "It can't happen here." We say the same thing today. But Weimar didn't collapse because Germans were uniquely evil or gullible. It collapsed because they were human. They were scared, they were angry, and they were tired of chaos. They traded freedom for order, truth for comfort, and democracy for a promise. The difference today is that we already know how that story ends. We don't have to repeat it. Democracy doesn't die in a blaze of glory. It dies in slow motion, one excuse at a time. And the only thing that keeps it alive is people who still believe it's worth fighting for. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video valuable, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel for more stories from history that still echo today.